That he does. It was in his top 8 as well, way back in 2020. It'll be Reed Bailey to tip it up with Jack Dontremont, and Davidson controls the opening tip-off. He'll immediately look inside to Bailey. The double comes, and it will stay with Davidson. Well, Austin, a Davidson team that went 16-16 a season ago. A lot of replacements in the offseason, but Matt McKillop is very high on the potential for this year's squad.
Absolutely. I think they've added a lot of shooting and scoring in the offseason. I think we're going to see big jumps from a lot of these guys.
Kuchera tries from 3 and connects.
It's going to be a great year if he hits like that.
We were talking about it pregame. This is a kid who can let it rip from 3. Maybe didn't show it all the time from beyond the arc, but he's got a green light from there.
Absolutely. Connor was a great player at William & Mary. I think a little bit of his speed and size in the A-10 last year may have took some time getting used to, but here he is.
Huffman will push in transition. It goes off the foot of Colin Ryan, a new starter for Chris McHugh's bunch. Comes around the horn for Huffman. Here's Bailey. They find Kuchera in the corner, and it's just off the side of the rim.
Good
tracked down by Skogman. Skogman still in a tussle for it. And finally hauled down by Jack Dontremont, the senior forward for Washington and Lee. Brizzy slices through the lane. Skogman parachutes in for the rebound. Huffman for 3. Bailey puts it home.
See the Cats battling on the offensive boards there. It's great to see a little pressure here early from Angelo Brizzy as well.
Well, for Washington and Lee, a squad with a slew of new starters, but everybody has the green light to shoot, as you just saw it rim out for John Laughlin, one of those standout snipers.
They're going to let it fly early and often, Sam.
It's got to be an interesting proposition for Davidson's defense, maybe baited into a track meet at times. Here's the corner triple for Kuchera. And Bailey is fouled on the rebound.
Way to battle, Reed. That's what you want to see from your sophomore big man. Big jump.
We were talking about it pregame. The sophomore class in general has really developed for Davidson, and Matt McKillop especially pointed out Reed Bailey and Sean Logan as 2 guys who took massive leaps.
They just spent all summer here. They were in the weight room. Brian Seitz, our strength coach, does a great job. Reed Bailey gained around 20 pounds, and Sean Logan gained about 25 pounds of muscle. That's exactly what you want to see in your freshman to sophomore jump.
Yeah, 2 guys who came in maybe a little wiry, but seeing that extra weight put on certainly will help Matt McKillop in terms of what lineups he can deploy. Here's Bailey going to work on the baseline. Picks out Huffman.
Good tap back by Sean Logan there.
Brizzy launches. And it'll go back to Washington and Lee. It is a Washington and Lee squad that likes to play up-tempo in the ODAC and D3.
DeCibio's going to play bully ball. He wants to drive it right in your chest if he's not letting it fly.
And here is DeCibio. Driving, kicks to the baseline for Dontremont, and there's Washington and Lee's first points.
A nice finish.
Those 2 are the 1-2 punch for Washington and Lee, the 2 returning starters who led this team in scoring.
30, over 34 points combined between the 2 of them.
Brizzy looping around, draws the foul against Connor Robertson. A lot of turnover for the Generals in terms of the guard position, but nice to see their front court is locked down.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want, those consistency. Those are two of the better players in all of Division III, especially DeCibio. They're set up for a great season in the ODAC.
You mentioned DeCibio, the 46 points in the ODAC quarterfinals. That was the most ever in an ODAC tournament game. As Achille Spadone launches, Logan tracked down the rebound and not quite on the same wavelength as Reed Bailey, but it will stay with the Cats.
It's nice to see Sean Logan battling here early, using his length to his advantage.
One of those players with very high upside for Matt McKillop's bunch.
Our first sightings of Achille Spadone and Bobby Durkin in here as well. Bobby, a hot shooting freshman.
They'll look inside for Logan here. An excellent block from D'Entremont, who tracked that out of thin air. Now he'll launch from three, and he'll knock it down.
The confidence early is great. Here comes Bobby.
Bobby Durkin from the corner. He connects.
That's what he does, Sam.
This kid's a sharpshooter. And now Bailey comes up with the steal. Durkin, one more time. Bullseye.
The Glen Ellen, Illinois product. Welcome to college basketball.
A very under-recruited player. Didn't even get a D1 offer until July of before his senior year.
Did a prep year at IMG, too, that really helped him.
Part of a state championship squad at Glenbard West High School.
Former home to other college basketball great John Sherna, who's still playing overseas, former Northwestern star.
Durkin will get one more look. And they'll reset through Huffman. Durkin on the back cut, and this time it's tracked down well by Thomas Fagan. Fagan will launch now in transition.
That's what they want to do. Their secondary break's going to be a lot like Davidson's, but they want to let it fly early in the shot clock.
A Washington and Lee squad that was one of the top three-point shooting outfits in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference a season ago. As Bailey takes the contact on the baseline, and that will send us to our first media timeout. Bobby Durkin and company.
Early on for the college freshman.
We were spotlighting him when he checked in. Perhaps the gem of this Wildcat recruiting class. As a new freshman enters in Hunter Adam for Davidson.
One of the toughest players you'll meet.
He'll take a three. It's off the side of the rim and tracked down by DeCibio.
Prototypical 3-and-D forward, 6'7" from New Zealand. One of the most charismatic Wildcats, too.
Captain Charisma.
Absolutely. He'll knock you over, but he'll smile while he does it.
Sounds like a winning combo to me.
Absolutely. Comes from a special forces background in New Zealand. Exactly what you want on your team now.
He joined Davidson in January of last year. The New Zealand school year ends in November, so it was a similar path to what Sam Menenga underwent. He'll commit the foul against DeCibio in the post.
Hunter's a funny kid. When you talk to him now, he says he's stuck in a perpetual winter because of the season difference between Davidson and New Zealand.
You think he'll appreciate when May comes around?
Be careful what you wish for in North Carolina.
DeCibio going to work on him one more time. Shoot long. Rebound was tracked down momentarily by Colin Ryan. We will stay with Washington Lee.
Washington and Lee is scrappy.
They crashed the glass very well. Undersized, but they were one of the top rebounding teams in the ODAC last year.
They're not afraid to mix it up.
This is Drew Harrell, a two-way guard for Washington and Lee. DeCibio slicing. Dumps it down to the freshman Noonhouse, who will be fouled by Skogman.
Got caught in the cookie jar there.
Foul goes against Spadone, the sophomore from Switzerland.
Played with the Swiss senior national team this summer for 4 games.
there's a lot of Achille Spadone fans among the Davidson fan base. They are very high on what he can do for this squad, as Jarvis Moss, another newcomer, a transfer from Stanford, enters the fray for Davidson.
Local product from Concord and the Cannon School as well. Super athletic, can get hot in a hurry, can really shoot it.
We were talking to Matt McKillop pregame, and he mentioned how last year was an anomaly in terms of shooting deficiencies for Davidson. They said they really hit the transfer portal and recruiting network to ensure that they locked down players who could really stroke it. Here's one of those in Durkin. And there's a third triple.
And you see it right there, right on cue, Bobby Durkin. For Durkin early.
How about this from Durkin?
That's a beautiful shot. It's automatic. He's got a soft touch.
Davidson with an early cushion as Robertson brings it up for Washington and Lee. A team that will typically play 10 to 12 deep.
We're going to see that a lot from the Cats this year, too. Matt McKillop thinks they can go 13 deep.
D'Entremont pulls up on Skogman. He'll leave it short. Spadone from the wing this time. It's a Davidson three-point barrage early.
If you're Matt McKillop, you've got to feel great from this start. That's exactly what you want to see.
Spadone shot 40% from three on very low volume a season ago. As Ryan slices baseline and draws the second whistle.
Nice drive by Ryan, the lefty. That's what he wants to do. Not much of a threat from deep, but he's going to drive it every time.
Ryan, someone who's going to be taking over a lot of the ball handling duties with Washington and Lee replacing Sam Wise, who was a third-team All-ODAC selection a year ago. And there are definitely question marks at the guard spot if you're Chris McHugh. Who are your lead ball handlers? Who are your playmakers? But it's got to be good to have that senior leadership in your front court.
It's a lot like Davidson, though. You have confidence in bringing the ball up through a lot of your different positions. You know, you have Colin Ryan's going to play the one. He's going to be your starting point guard, but then they also are going to throw him in at the 4 or the 5, too. He's not exactly Magic Johnson, but he does it all.
I don't think there are too many Magic Johnsons in college basketball. Here's Jarvis Moss's first look. Just ricochets out. Rebound tracked down by Laughlin.
Quick release, though.
Laughlin pumps, kicks to Bedoria on the wing, and the freshman knocks down his first college points.
Nothing but net.
And Spadone draws the block against the freshman on the other end.
Aren't going to be many charges this year. It's one of the points of emphasis. 41.7% so far. You'd love to see it out of Bobby Durkin as well from the freshman. AC, Achille Spadone hitting one, too.
Durkin with a trio of triples. Cochero's got one as well.
One through 5 can shoot it here.
Skogman looks inside for Cochera. It is read brilliantly by D'Entremont. Pushes tempo, fades away, and knocks it in. And suddenly Washington and Lee within 3.
Don't let them get hot.
A team full of shooters starting to catch fire. Here's Brizzy. Nice little stutter step.
Great jump stop. He's played in big games. He's been around big programs. Angelo played AAU for Team Curry, Stephen Curry's AAU program with Under Armour, too. Very familiar with Davidson.
Scivio responding with the hook shot in the post. Those are his first points of the night.
If you can go 9 minutes without DeCivio scoring, that's a good start. He read the scouting report well.
He'd only taken one shot prior to that.
It's great defense.
No changes either way as Brizzi takes this baseline inbound. Now is wide open from the wing. Just strokes it a little long, still looking to find his range.
Thought Laughlin might have touched it there.
Washington and Lee can tie with a 3 here.
If you're Chris McHugh, this is exactly what you want halfway through the first.
D'Entremont has had the hot hand all night, and he moves it within 1. 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting for the senior forward. Bailey shuffles downhill and draws the whistle against DeCibio.
It's nice to see the Wildcats starting to try and attack inside. You don't want to settle for threes and get comfortable.
Sometimes when you hit a lot of early threes, you sometimes fall in love with the three-point shot too much, don't you?
Absolutely. It feels good, but you want to use your length or size. We're so much taller. You just need to use it. You got to bang it down low, get them in foul trouble.
And with the loss of Sam Menenga a season ago, who was a renowned post scorer, there were certainly questions about where that interior presence would come from.
Yeah, that interior defense, interior scoring is certainly one of the question marks. I think David Skogman now has so much experience. He was one of Davidson's best players throughout the summer, a senior leader as well. You look at Reed Bailey, his ability to stretch the floor and also play above the rim inside. And then, like we said before, Sean Logan has gained a lot of weight. He's feeling more comfortable, more confident.
Bailey goes 1 of 2 from the stripe. Pushes Davidson's advantage back up to 2 as they show a press.
Might have been some steps there from D'Entremont.
Harrell swung around to DeCibio.
It's good ball movement. DeCibio right into Bailey's chest.
And another whistle against Bailey, his first foul of the night. We were talking to Chris McHugh. They can play 5 out, but they've got guys who are willing to attack, and when necessary, they're willing to park someone down low as well.
Yeah, they're going to look inside. They might go 4 out, 1 in, but generally they're going to be all 5 out. Look to attack you that way.
A lot for size here with the freshman Noonhouse replacing D'Entremont. DeCibio had an opportunity to tie the game and just left it wide.
Section 30's loud on opening night in the new end zone.
Bailey tries from 3.
He thought about it a little bit.
Will deflect off of Brizzi in the end and go back to the Generals.
Reed's a great shooter. He just thought about that one a little bit.
There were definitely questions coming into the year about his assertiveness. Someone who, on his day, can rack up points in a hurry. Harrell gives Washington and Lee their first lead of the night.
If you're Chris McHugh, this is exactly what you thought was going to happen tonight.
Brizzi kicks to Bailey. Just off the side of the rim. DeCibio pushing. Drives on Huffman. And well, there's the second foul of the night on Reed Bailey.
Tough back-to-back play there for Reed with the miss and the foul.
Take another look at this.
He jumps so high, he just gets lost. There's nothing more to it, just a common foul. DeCibio is gaining confidence, too, just getting downhill to the rim.
Someone who says he hopes to play EuroLeague professionally after he graduates. Interned with the Milwaukee Bucks the last 2 summers. Washington and Lee now with their largest lead of the night.
He's the perfect fit for a Euro Cup, EuroLeague team.
When we were chatting pregame, we both kind of came to the consensus that the only reason he's not a D1 player is because he's 6'6".
Absolutely. And I think if you transfer or hit the portal, I think there'd be D1 teams interested. But it's great to see loyalty, too, and know your fit and know your worth. And if you're a great player, you're a great player.
Durkin is back into the game. Kicks to Brizzy.
The threes aren't falling, Sam.
They were hot early. Have certainly cooled off since. Harrell.
Good defense by Grant Hoffman.
Still going to work
Better
and
finish.
still powers it in.
Better finish by Harrell. W&L just playing with a lot of confidence right now.
It's a 7-0 run for the Generals. Brizzy looks to put an end to it. He'll get fouled.
Nice drive by Angelo. That's exactly what you want in that situation. Drive, get fouled, make a free throw, end the run.
You mentioned the importance of attacking the basket, especially when the threes have stopped falling.
Absolutely. Wear you down. That's what Davidson needs to do here. Wear the defense down, get them in foul trouble, tire them out. You're Division I level. You're a little bit bigger, a little faster, a little stronger. It's a lot to use a football analogy. Offensive line and defensive line are what win games in the Power 5 level. Everyone has athletes. It's the O-line and the D-line and their strength and their size that wear you out in the end.
Angelo Brizzy, the Villanova transfer, spent time as a redshirt playing under the tutelage of Colin Gillespie. Not a shabby mentor to have at the college level.
Just scored his first NBA points last night.
Defending champion Denver Nuggets.
How about that? You get a title ring, you don't score a point, and then the next season you finally score your NBA first points.
Seems like a great 2023 to me.
I think he got married this summer, too. To continue our Colin Gillespie talk.
Harrell attacking Kuchera, and this time leaves it a tad short. Rebound tracked down by Huffman.
Good D by Connor there. Let's see him settle in. Get an easy bucket.
D'Entremont's all over Huffman.
DeCilio wants to let it fly there. It's good D by David Scogano, keeping his hand low over the ball. It's exactly what you want.
Whistle sounds. Davidson heads to a break, trailing by 3. Washington and Leaches that both were under Jason Zimmerman at one time. Like you mentioned, no overlap between the two, but Chris McHugh mentioned a lot of his offense comes indirectly from Davidson, and there's certainly that influence between Bob McKillop and now this Washington and Lee program.
Definitely. They try to speed it up a little bit more than traditional Davidson offense. Current Davidson assistant and director of basketball ops, Matt Williams, also worked for Chris McHugh for 4 years.
D'Entremont runs out of time on the shot clock. An important stop for Davidson out of the timeout.
That's great defense. You definitely want a shot clock violation coming out of the timeout like that.
Kuchera drives, gets his 5th point of the night.
Great job by Connor. Straight line drive on the baseline. Nice finish.
The transfer from William and Mary. They knew he could score it when they recruited him. He put up 17 against Davidson as D'Entremont taps it in on the tip-in.
D'Entremont, 11 points.
Right on his average from last season already.
Oh, you could have let that shit fly, Bobby. A little stagnant offensively. Nice cut by Skogman.
4 to shoot for Davidson. Huffman steps back, rims out. Good rebound by Logan. And D'Entremont defensively now.
D'Entremont sent it back.
Drive from Harrell. And Logan, a ferocious grab on the rebound, draws the whistle as well.
It's exactly what you want from Sean as a sophomore. He's using his length, he's using his size. He's not afraid to battle. It's a big rebound.
You mentioned playing with a lot more confidence between last season and this one, and he had his positive moments. At one point last year, guarded Deron Holmes for about a 4-minute stint in the second half against Dayton and more than held his own.
When you talk to the coaches, Sean Logan's a gamer. You see it against Dayton. We saw it against VCU in the A-10 tournament. He held his own at his best game of the year. Now you're just looking for that consistency as a sophomore. See it every night.
So 1-1, it will rim out, but Skogman tracks it down. Huffman attacking. Everything but the finish.
The rims haven't been kind for the Wildcats this half. It's a great drive.
Here's Laughlin. DeCibio now taking it downhill. 2 free throws on the way.
Every time from DeCibio, it's right into the defender's chest. Does a great job drawing contact. Hasn't settled for threes either.
A second foul against Skogman. Now the second Wildcat in foul trouble here in the first half. And Austin, if you're Chris McHugh, this has to be your desired game script. Davidson shooting just 28%. 2 of their top bigs in foul trouble. They've had to go deeper into the bench. And, of course, you've got the lead.
It's exactly what you want to see. David versus Goliath with the lead with 5:49 to go at the line.
1 of 2 for DeCibio that time down the court.
Another thank you to Section 30 in the end zone, being loud. Great job by the student body showing up.
Fantastic turnout tonight.
I think there's buzz around the Wildcats, Sam. I think we're underrated. I think there's a little bit of disrespect, maybe a chip on your shoulder from the guys.
The team picked just 12th in the A-10 preseason poll. It's the first time since Davidson joined the A-10 that they didn't have a preseason all-conference selection, which speaks to both the consistency of this Davidson program and, like you mentioned, perhaps how they're being overlooked.
Sean Logan back at the line.
There's a 1-1 here. Once again misses the front end. This time DeCibio tracks down the rebound.
That's purely confidence from Sean Logan, too. He's a good shooter. He can make free throws.
And how about the work by Brizzi there in the passing lane?
He's a gritty guard.
Reverse for Angelo in his first field goal in a Wildcat uniform.
Defense leads to offense.
Great sequence for Brizzi. Gets the steal and the lay. Moves Davidson within 2. Now Durkin creates the takeaway.
Brizzi punched it out again.
Huffman for Durkin for the lead. Just rims out. Rebound Bailey. Tie game.
Great job by Reed Bailey there. It's a great baseline drive and kick. And then a great O-board by Bailey.
Don Tremont's been the hot hand tonight, and this time finds the Wildcat bench.
Stepping up the defense, Sam.
Great response out of the timeout.
Sometimes, first game of the season, there's some jitters. First time home crowd, you try do a little bit too much, put a little bit on your shot. It's nice to see him settle down here the last minute.
They got off to a really fast start, and it was right around the under 12 through the under 8, where Washington and Lee took the game over with a 7-0 run. But now back on level playing field are the Cats. Here's Durkin. And an offensive foul, and I believe it's against Logan. Which will be the third Wildcat with 2 fouls already.
That was bad luck for Sean Logan there. I don't think it was a moving screen initially. It looked like he tripped a little bit after the screen and got caught.
Well, that will force Davidson to get creative with their lineup configurations. An uber small lineup with Reed Bailey at the 5.
Angelo Brizzi poking it out once again. going to see a little bit more full court pressure from the Cats this season too.
Matt McKillop mentioned that since he feels he has the depth, he's going to throw bodies at teams defensively. It'll be a more aggressive defense than ones we've seen in years past.
It's exactly what he wants from his guards.
Ryan off the mark on the layup. Here's Bailey.
That's 3 or 4 stops in a row for the Cats. Let's see if we can turn this one into some points.
And this time, Brizzy is tripped up.
Erase the Bobby Durkin 3. He just shoots it with confidence.
That'll take us
past minute and a half. Let's see if they can continue it into halftime.
Brizzy tonight, that's his 7th point. Has done so quite quietly, as Matt McKillop still thinking about his potential lineup combinations. We mentioned foul trouble, definitely a factor. Multiple bigs with 2 fouls for Davidson. Connor Robertson and Ishan Bedoria for Washington and Lee, a pair of younger guards with 3 fouls apiece.
And that's what you want from Davidson. You want to get them in foul trouble. Matt McKillop's comfortable with the depth that Davidson has. A lot more untested from WNL.
Here's DeCibio. Starting to build confidence. Goes to work on Bailey and leaves it short.
Great D by Reed there to absorb the contact. DeCibio again, right into the chest. Reed knew the scouting report.
Now Huffman to the cup.
What a finish by the senior.
He is a hard-nosed kid.
We've seen a lot of those types of baskets from Grant over the years. Grant on DeCibio now, too.
Mismatch on paper. Instead, an offensive foul. Brizzy takes the charge.
You don't get recruited to Villanova unless you know how to take a charge.
You got to be Philly tough to play there.
Absolutely. Jay Wright's practices are diving from behind. It's taking charges. If you don't get on the floor, you're in trouble.
And Villanova fans were quite sad to lose him. They thought he could factor in as the next great young Villanova point guard, but ultimately only made 9 appearances in non-conference play and opted to take his talents to Davidson, where he's enjoyed a solid start so far with 8 points.
He's one of those COVID recruits. He wasn't able to visit Davidson when he was going through his recruiting process. He had said that if he did, he probably would have gone to Davidson over Villanova. 4-star recruit.
Got looks from Arizona and Michigan as well. Here is Spadone, 6 to shoot. He'll draw the whistle. And that will be against Drew Harrell, his first foul, a defensive ace for Washington and Lee.
Harrell reached in. Laughlin took the block. Could have gone either way.
You mentioned the emphasis on not calling as many charges this year in college basketball.
They want the scoring to go up. Drives viewers.
Spadone's first free throw ricochets out.
A lot of people want to ban the charge. I'm a big proponent of the charge. I like the defense.
It's a big momentum play.
Absolutely. Put your body on the line.
1 of 2 from the charity stripe for Spadone. Up to 4 points on the night.
To get 4 points out of a walk-on sophomore and get the production that Davidson got out of him as a freshman walk-on, it doesn't get much better than that. It's so unexpected.
Played big minutes in conference play, too. He guarded Ace Baldwin for large spurts of that game against VCU last January.
He's going to grind you down defensively. He's got a nice-looking shot. He plays with confidence.
Harrell breaks an 8-0 spurt for Davidson. Spadone looking for his own shot. Gets the lay in the drop.
Like I said, he plays with confidence. Unafraid of DeCibio there.
Had 29 in a U18 European Championship game a couple summers ago.
Played at St. Thomas More in Connecticut, one of the longtime prep powerhouses. Another casualty of COVID, where not many schools were able to get out and see him.
Well, speaking of a player with a world of confidence right now, Jack D'Entremont canning another corner three.
D'Entremont. He's been everywhere tonight.
14 points on 6 of 8 shooting.
Averaged 11.6 last year. He's already above it in the first half. Get old, stay old. It helps you, even at Division III.
Moss gets happy feet on the baseline.
Yeah, just some nerves there from Jarvis Moss. Taking a couple steps. It feels like there's always more walks in the corner. Guys aren't aware of the sideline. Angelo Brizzi with the pressure up the court.
Approaching the final minute of this first half, and it is a 2-point ball game. DeCibio draws the switch against Spadone. Drives into the contact and ties this up.
It's good defense by AC there too, but DeCibio just finishes overthrow and muscles it in.
Davidson will talk things over. Just when it looked like they were starting to take control of the...
Switch everything.
Into the final minute of this first half. If you are Davidson, it has been one of ebbs and flows. Washington and Leaf chose a zone. Brizzi's three rims out. It goes back to the Generals.
Still going 2 for 1 though. It's a good looking shot from Angelo Brizzi. It was halfway down.
Had a couple of those tonight.
You want your home rims to be good to you. Maybe on the other end in the second half. Let's see.
Time to adjust the tension of the rims. Laughlin, he's a shooter, and he gives Washington and Leaf a lead.
That was a smooth shot from Laughlin there. That was automatic. Quick release.
Shot clock turned off.
And you see Laughlin on defense here now too. He's feeling himself. He's feeling good.
Huffman, 6 to shoot, draws the whistle, and if that is against DeCibio, that would be his third.
That's big if it is.
It will be against Laughlin, so Washington and Lee dodges a bullet.
Chris McHugh with a big sigh of relief on that one. You don't want your best player drawing a foul with 5.6 seconds left in the half.
It will be 2 shots for Grant Huffman, who tonight has just 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting.
Confidence from the senior to step up to the line and make the first.
Barring a dramatic turnaround, Washington and Lee will lead after 20 minutes.
I was talking to Jack Gibbs earlier, and he told me, I want to say it was his sophomore or junior year, they were playing Lenore Vine. It was Davidson's first year in the A-10, and they were down at the half in the first game as well.
1-point game as Huffman cans both free throws. Just under 6 seconds for Washington and Lee to get one final shot. D'Entremont, the inbounder. Harrell will carry it up court. Launches. It's good if it goes. Off the side of the rim. But Washington and Lee takes a 1-point lead over Davidson in the shooting. As D'Entremont will inbound this and get us back underway for the start of the second half.
Bobby Durkin shot it well in his first college game. Reed Bailey with 7 rebounds in the first half.
DeCibio attacking Huffman. Gets his own rebound, and he's fouled in the process.
Didn't see a lot of contact on the second shot.
Huffman is the man credited with the foul, which makes his first. DeCibio only had 6 points in that first half. They did a decent job taking him out of it in the first 12 minutes or so. He started to come on later on, though.
Yeah, he just stuck with what he does. He didn't rely on taking deep threes. He just drove it at the defense over and over. He's a smart player. He's a veteran.
Huffman swung around for Bailey.
Good ball movement from Davidson so far. Would love to see David Skogman get some more touches inside.
Brizzi drives to the hole and draws the whistle against Harrell. So the second for the sophomore. Now that you come to mention it, almost no post-ups whatsoever for Davidson so far.
I mean, W&L's been diving on everything in the post. They've been doubling as soon as David Skogman or Reed Bailey touches the ball, forcing the kick out. Angelo Brizzi's been bringing energy, though.
Now leads the team in scoring. Well, for those of you just joining us, Washington and Lee led this game at halftime by a point, in front by one as well. This is a series that they actually lead all time, as D'Entremont misses the quick lay-in on the back cut, and Brizzi tracks down the rebound. Bailey will get held, and if that is Harrell, that's his third.
And if you're Davidson, that's exactly what you want. You want to get their starters in foul trouble early in the half, so they got to sit for a long stretch. Going to keep going at Harrell, keep going at DeCivio.
That is Harrell's third, so first guard in proper foul trouble for Washington and Lee. Swing for Brizzi in the corner. Connects!
Good extra pass from Grant Huffman. Angelo Brizzi being a gamer and knocking down the corner three.
First made three of the night for Brizzi. He's now got 13.
And then he's picking up full court. He's fearless. Angelo Brizzi is an intense guard. He brings a lot of energy to this team.
Now gets in the passing lane, nearly creates another turnover.
And he makes me look good with the deflection right on cue.
He's a game changer. And we spoke to Matt McKillop about the intention to be more aggressive defensively. Angelo Brizzi, in many respects, is the key to that, just with his ability to jump in the passing lanes and provide that on-ball pressure.
Oh, it's exactly. He's the reason why we'll press full court throughout the season.
DeCivio cans the mid-range J and ties this back up.
Nice jumper from DeCivio.
Proper 6'6", three-level scorer who plays the five at times.
Angelo's feeling it now.
He'll get another. It is the Angelo Brizzi show here in the second half.
Every possession so far has gone through Angelo Brizzi. And he's making the most of it.
Harrell still on the court with 3 fouls. Attacks Bailey. Collects his own rebound. Dumps it off to D'Entremont for 2.
Nice pass from Harrell to D'Entremont. And a nice reverse finish.
Huffman looks for the answer. 2-piece and a biscuit.
And one Grant Huffman. If you're Davidson, this is who you want to go through now. Against a team like this that's scrapping. You got to go through your senior leader to get a play, get a bucket.
It is the 2 guards just slicing downhill, and that has fueled the offense for Davidson here in the second half.
Cats are playing with a lot more confidence coming out of the half. It's the first game of the season. We just said during halftime, VCU's down 12 to McNeese State. The gangster Will Wade back at the Siegel Center. It happens. But you settle in at halftime, and then you come out playing like this.
Yeah, how about that? VCU down at halftime to McNeese. And McNeese is pretty good. You were mentioning at halftime, they are much better than they have been in past years.
They're built through the transfer portal. Will Wade gets his man, like always. NIL before NIL was a thing. Will Wade.
That's one way to put it. Here's DeCivio on the fadeaway. Off the back iron, Durkin corrals the rebound. And now Davidson off to the races.
Nice baseline drive from Brizzy, but David Skogman was there. Had to pull it back out. Good cut.
Now he's open for three. Nearly had another.
It's a good movement, good action. Angelo Brizzy shooting with confidence.
Harrell spins off the back rim.
He's everywhere. Help defense, and then the nice board by Skog.
It's been the game changer Davidson's needed here in the second half. He has turned the tide seemingly himself. Durkin for three. Skogman tracks down the rebound and finishes it off.
Big rebound and finish from David Skogman. W&L gives Bobby Durkin room, though. He's not going to miss many of those. That was a big board.
Parachuted in for that board.
That's exactly what you want from your big man.
Bedoria looks for the answer. It will not fall. Huffman corrals it.
Key for Davidson now is keep stringing together these stops.
Skogman can shoot it.
It's a good-looking shot. It's right there, in front of the rim.
Harrell for three. Not necessarily the strong point of his game.
That's not on the scouting report for Harrell.
A two-way who can drive it really well, known for his defense. Brizzy's been driving all night. Skogman collects for the stick back.
Cleans it up. Could have been a foul there for Brizzy.
7-0 run for Davidson. And Chris from Power 5 schools across the country maybe would have committed to Davidson had he been able to visit. He averaged 20 points a game in high school. This is a kid who can ball, and he just didn't get the opportunity to do so at the Power 5 level.
He's a gamer. He's fearless. He's been around big programs. Got away from with a walk there, or a carry. It's opening day for the refs as well. We've got a great crew. Connor McDavid, Chandler Burton, and Owen Lucky.
Another Lucky as a ref. And that'll take us into a break. A foul against Reed Bailey. Davidson still by 7 here at the under 16. Back here on ESPN Plus, Davidson by 7 with just under 16 minutes to go here in the second half. Austin Bunce, Sam Goldfarb on hand, and Austin, we were alluding to this earlier in the second half. This is a Davidson team that actually trails Washington and Lee in the all-time series, which dates back to 1909. It's a 14-12 general advantage. 114
years of general versus Wildcat basketball. A lot of conference realignment over those years.
You mentioned it. It's been happening for 100 years.
It doesn't stop. W&L and Davidson might be in the Pac-12 by the time this broadcast is over. Who can say, Sam?
SEC on the docket, right?
Davidson football, former SEC member back in the day.
Winning record over Auburn?
Absolutely. Great stat.
Inbound comes for D'Entremont. This is a Washington and Lee program that actually has won 2 SoCon titles. It came in 1934 and 1937. They didn't move to D3 until the 60s.
It's a great academic school. Davidson football coach Scott Abel spent 6 years at WNL.
Spadone tries the triple, connects, 10-point lead.
Ace with ice in his veins.
I think the Achille Spadone fans across Wildcat Nation will be very pleased with what they've seen tonight.
Twitter is alight with Achille Spadone love.
There's a Stan account or two that will be quite pleased. D'Entremont from the short corner. He's just been a man on a mission tonight.
He's playing with confidence. It's exactly what you want. He's trying to keep his team in the game here. You see the Davidson defense ramping up.
It's a good look for Durkin. And the whistle sounds on the rebound. Spadone was the man fouled.
You see the size advantage of Davidson coming into effect here too.
Well, you've mentioned where this game has changed has been Davidson's willingness to attack the basket a little more.
Just took a wide open three, but haven't been relying on it as much this half. Taking good shots. You want Bobby Durkin to shoot that every single time.
Around the horn for Skogman. Nearly ripped the twine just off the front iron.
All of these Davidson threes are right on. They look good. It's just shooting the ball with confidence.
Logan back in the book after the foul on Robertson. Another big with 2 fouls, only one with 3. That's Reed Bailey. For Washington and Lee, it is a trio of players with 3 fouls. Harrell is one of those.
If you're Chris McHugh, you just say to Jack D'Entremont and Robert DeCibio, just don't get in foul trouble.
Noonhouse leaves it short.
Angelo Brizzi, it's good to get him back in here. He was the spark probably last time out.
They'll put it on the deck now. Attacking DeCibio. Spadone for 3. Can't quite get another.
It'd be nice to get Sean Logan a touch inside as he blocks a shot.
You mentioned his rim protection ability. How about on the perimeter?
This is a kid who, by the time he's a senior at Davidson, could be Defensive Player of the Year in the league. He's that long. He's got great instincts. It's size, it's maturity that'll make him an elite defender.
He's got to be an advanced analytics systems darling at the moment. Just his length, his mobility. Take another look at this block.
Just great ball skills to punch that and then thread it too. It's a smart basketball play to keep it in bounds. Sean's father, Chris, was a great college basketball player at Holy Cross as well. Bob McKillop recruited him way back in the day.
He was the 9th ranked forward in the state of New Jersey coming out of high school. Now a sophomore, enjoying his extended minutes here tonight.
It's all about being in the weight room for Sean Logan.
He'll post up DeCibio here. Spadone tracks down the rebound.
I know he missed it, but that's a great look from Sean Logan. He's above the rim there.
Now Skogman going to work on the mismatch. That'll be a goaltend.
D'Entremont skied for that one, but a little too late.
Mentioned not too many post-ups. Washington and Lee biting on it. They switch a lot of ball screens, but I feel like Skogman would have been licking his chops when he saw the shorter Drew Harrell there.
8 minutes into the half, Wildcats have stretched their lead back up to 10, playing with a lot more energy and enthusiasm.
DeCibio puts it on the deck, kicks to the corner, and Finet is rejected from the corner. Angelo Brizzi again.
The Cats may tie their block total from last season by 5 games into this year.
They were last in the A-10 in blocks per game a year ago.
We won't be this year.
A lot more size and length.
A lot more defensive intensity.
Harrell tries from deep, knocks down his first 3 of the night. And And a timeout on the floor as a result.
8 minutes into the second half. Grant Huffman's a plus 17 so far in the game.
And bringing up the court for Davidson. He and Angelo Brizzi have had their moments. Brizzi especially in the second half.
Sam, we were just talking as they played Misery Business by Paramore over the loudspeaker. Stephen Curry was brought on stage by Paramore and sang the entire song.
It's a good song.
He's a man of many talents. He can sing, he can shoot.
He can do a little more than shoot now as well.
He's the greatest shooter of all time.
You see this deflected right on the sideline, Austin.
Looks like Bailey touched it, but then it rolled off of DeCivio's fingertips.
Miscommunication between Huffman and Durkin. It'll go back to the Generals, who, we mentioned it before the break, are still hanging around in this contest. This was a 10-point lead at one point for Davidson.
They're hanging around. They're scrappy. They're confident. They're making open threes. They're being fearless in their drive to the basket. Chris McHugh's a good coach. He's got his team ready.
They run great stuff.
This is their Super Bowl.
Alex Finney, the freshman forward, getting his first minutes on the court.
W&L's one of 2 ODAC opponents this year for Davidson. December 16th, we have Lynchburg coming to town. Hillary Scott, longtime D1 opponent, bringing another ODAC squad into Belk Arena.
Played Guilford as well last year to open the season. It was a similar game script to this one, close at halftime. Then Davidson started to pull away. We're going to replicate that here as Brizzi drives to the cup. And Logan just unable to track down the rebound. It will stay with Davidson.
Good effort by Sean Logan as he jumps in and then gives the double point. Staying with the Cats.
You mentioned those effort plays for Sean Logan. There's another.
We've seen a lot more this half.
More changes. Noonhouse enters the fray, as does Laughlin, who hit a pretty huge three towards the end of the first half. Bailey going to work, draws the whistle.
Good drive and the foul from Reed.
We mentioned assertiveness is the name of the game for him. He's very mobile, very fluid, but if he can start to apply pressure to defenses, that's when he's going to be most difficult to guard.
Reed Bailey's going to be the most athletic person on the floor in most games Davidson plays this season, especially at 6'11".
Product of Brewster Academy.
Jason Smith, NBA powerhouse of talent.
Donovan Mitchell played there.
Donovan Mitchell, Thomas Robinson, Will Barton. They've got some 5 stars now. A Nike Elite program.
Thomas Robinson knows a thing or two about playing Davidson. In 2011, they fell to Davidson as well. It was an 11th ranked Kansas team.
Revenge for the Elite 8 game.
That it was. Here's Laughlin. Enjoyed a nice spurt towards the end of the first, and Harrell shuffled his feet.
Thomas Robinson, also a former Under Armour athlete. The brand signed him right before they signed Stephen Curry.
Checking off all of our trivia boxes here on this Monday night.
Got fresh Curry brand uniforms. Got Currys on every Davidson player on the court. It's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, great looking new retro jerseys as well. Introduced them last year. They've been a fixture for Davidson ever since. 9-point advantage for the Cats here midway through the second half. Cochera is back into the game. Huffman steps back, knocks it in.
Grant thought about the 3 there, settled in, drive, lost his man, canned the mid-range.
A player who is an improved shooter from a season ago, says Matt McKillop. Noonhouse tries the triple. Bailey tracks down the rebound.
Reed Bailey with the high jump there. He double jumped.
Brizzi. Bailey launches and knocks it home. Largest lead of the night for Davidson.
We've seen all night Davidson players make a big play defensively, grab a big board, and then come down the other end and make a big shot, make a big play. Reed Bailey, just one of the latest.
10 points, 8 rebounds now for Reed Bailey.
It was a big three. Shot it with confidence. It looked good the whole way.
Laughlin going to work on Huffman.
Good D from Grant, though.
And another rebound for Bailey, who is now one off of a double-double.
Davidson gets into its normal motion offense here.
Brizzy, he'll try. No luck this time. He's a much better shooter than what he's shown tonight.
Oh yeah, he has unlimited range. Ooh. Bailey landed on D'Entremont there and got twisted up.
That is not a sight you want to see. D'Entremont, best player on the court. It was certainly a tough break, but that will send Robert DeCibio to the line because D'Entremont's injured. They can pick any free throw shooter they want. He'll knock down the first. When we mentioned ways back into the game for Washington and Lee, you're handed 2 free shots at the charity stripe and the ball.
Oh, this is what you want. That's still a hustle play from Reed Bailey, though, going back to it. That's a tough way to pick up your 4th foul.
With Reed Bailey now with 4 fouls. He and Connor Robertson for Washington and Lee are the only players in that territory.
Angelo Brizzy with the hustle play.
Robertson is still in the game.
How about Angelo Brizzy there? Sideline on a bounce, tips the ball back to the opposite baseline, and then is able to pick him up full court. Run the clock down here for DeCibio.
The kid is everywhere. The whistle goes against Skogman. So his 3rd. And the next foul, Washington and Lee will be shooting at the charity stripe.
Those are the types of hustle plays, though, from Angelo Brizzy that are going to win you a lot of games this season.
Ryan drops Brizzy to the deck. A second charge taken by the Wildcat guard.
Announcer's luck again. Great charge by Angelo Brizzy. Point of emphasis this year, too. You're not going to get many charges, but perfect position, takes it in the chest. It's a great play.
A.J. Thomas is into the game for the first time of Washington and Lee.
Sean Logan and David Skogman in the game, twin big men. Be great to get him a touch. Grant cans the 3.
We mentioned the improved shooting from Grant Huffman. There's his first triple.
Grant Huffman was hard at work in an internship all summer with Stryker Pharmaceuticals in the ER, and it clearly has paid off for his jumper.
Might have learned a thing or two.
Doing surgeries and making 3s.
Winning combo. Davidson now with their largest advantage of the night. It's at 15.
Good post touch.
Logan dumps it down to Skogman.
Good things happen when you feed the post. Great post pass into Sean Logan, who feeds David Skogman for the easy layup.
Thomas launches. He'll knock it down to stop the bleeding.
Nice jumper there from A.J. Thomas. They needed that one.
Played in just 8 games a year ago.
Smooth lefty jumper.
Huffman will attack this time. Skogman draws 2, fights through contact, and he'll have one more coming.
Surgical drive and pass from Grant Huffman. Gives it to Skogman. Nice finish.
Goes full circle. It goes full circle, Austin. Skogman to the line after getting the hoop and harm before the break. He'll leave this free throw short, and the ball will go back to Washington and Lee.
Caps are 13 for 18 from the line. We've got 4 in double figures. Bobby Durkin and AC both with 9.
Davidson's offense started to rule the day here in the second half. It was an up and down start to the first, DeCibio prevents that from being a backboard violation.
Grant Huffman, a plus 26 on the day.
We mentioned advanced analytics. Huffman certainly fits a few of those bills. Launches to the corner for Spadone. Rebound is vacuumed by Laughlin. And good to see D'Andremont back out there for Washington and Lee.
Great to see him back. They need him. DeCibio working now, too. Good deflection by Bobby Durkin, and Sean Logan corrals it. Cats walk it up here.
Length starting to take over for the Cats.
It's the size, the athleticism, the strength. It wears you down.
Logan in the post, dumps it down for Durkin, and now he's in double figures.
Sean Logan with an unbelievable post pass there. That's two in a row. Last one to David Skogman, this one to Bobby Durkin to put him at 11.
Davidson up 19 as they're starting to run away with this one. DeCibio puts it on the deck. Logan with the block.
You see his confidence building.
And Spadone violates verticality.
Had good position to start and then reached in a little bit. Puts DeCibio at the line.
Second straight block Sean Logan has had on a three-point shooter.
His length is just, you can't teach it.
It'll be 2 for DeCibio. Both teams shooting the rest of the way.
Again, from freshman to sophomore year, too, you look at Sean Logan just growing, living in the weight room, packing on calories, and now you see it start to pay off here.
25 pounds of muscle, right?
25 pounds of muscle. I don't think he's done yet either. I'm sure strength coach Brian Seitz wants him to gain probably 20 more.
He's listed at 6'10", 220. I think that 220 might be doing him a little bit of a disservice. I think he's a little more muscular than that now.
He looks like a little bit taller than 6'10" this year, too. It's the wingspan, too. He's got incredible length.
Spadone has a wide open look. Rims out. Skogman tracks down the rebound.
It was a great pass from Skogman.
Had his pocket picked, but it will stay with Davidson.
Great effort from David Skogman there.
And this is nothing new. Davidson has put weight on plenty of bigs over the course of the last decade or so. Luka Brajkovic, of course, a former A-10 Player of the Year, put on about 25, 30 pounds of muscle over the course of his college career, and obviously that turned out pretty well for him. Davidson's
built on player development. They're not going to get the blue-chip recruits, so it's about building guys up over their time here.
Spadone looking for another three. Skogman, another offensive board, and another and one.
Go to work, big fella. Way to battle on the glass. Nice soft touch at the end, too. Making Waukesha proud. Big and one from David Skogman.
He's just been battling down there all second half. 20-point lead for Davidson.
It's what you need from your senior big. A lot of these question marks about interior defense for the Cats this season, and then you see David Skogman battling inside. You see Sean Logan's length. There's a lot to like.
There were some nerves in the first half, but this second half performance has been nothing short of dominant. And on the theme of depth as well, Davidson going 10 deep.
Good to see Jarvis Moss back in the game. Hunter Adam as well, giving David Skogman a breath. You just see Davidson's defensive intensity here pick up in the second half.
That was something Matt McKillop said jumped off the page to him in preseason. Ryan drives. Nice finish through contact.
Nice finish. You just see all the deflections they've gotten, block shots, playing physical.
And Adam commits the transgression on the other end.
Wasn't intentional. He's trying to get out of the way and cut the corner, but got tied up again.
And anytime you run a motion offense with so many screens, that's the natural byproduct.
It's a natural progression. It happens, especially for the new guys, too. You see them get tangled up. It's a correctable mistake that you get used to with more playing time.
Approaching the final 4 minutes. Here is DeCibio. Has a three-point look. Cans it. 17 for him.
DeCibio's come on here in the second half more. He's known for shooting it. Hasn't taken as many as we thought, but buries that one.
Moss finds Durkin, drops a defender to the deck. It'll be a block against Ryan.
In years past, that may have been a charge. Not getting bailed out this year.
Well, Davidson leads by 15, well on their way to notching their first win of always disperse their scoring.
If you talk to Matt McKill before the season, too, he'll talk about how selfless this team is. You see Bailey, Skogman, Huffman, Brizzi, Durkin, all in double figures, and Spadone with 9 as well. And then conversely for WNL, you see Dontremont and DeCivio with 35 combined.
Those are the usual suspects for them. On your point of this selflessness, that's the first word that jumps off the page about this team to Matt McKillop. There's also a year-long video series on Davidson's Twitter and social media accounts called Selfless, where they are charting this team's progress over the course of the year. It's excellent work by Chris Finch, Danny Garillo, and members of the Davidson creative team.
We have one of the best sports information departments in the entire country, Sam. Danny, Finch, Joey Beeler, the whole team, they're unbelievable. They work so hard. They're selfless, too.
They are giving so many holidays, hours of their week to all of the Davidson athletics programs. And
working in athletics, it's a lot of nights and weekends. But when you work with good people, it makes it fun. It makes it all worthwhile. It also works when you're up by 17.
Yeah, it makes for really enjoyable nights like this one.
It's great to have college basketball back, Sam.
We were looking at scores earlier. Already some madness throughout college basketball.
The Generals up at the half is the norm across college basketball. A lot of teams getting scares put in them early. You just hope that when you go in at halftime, you come back out like Davidson has, up 17 now.
Here's Hunter Adam. Final 3 minutes, Davidson leading by 17. Moss launches. Adam with the follow-up. Oh, that's sensational.
Sky's in for the putback. Hunter Adams, one of the most athletic players on this team.
A redshirt freshman from Christchurch, New Zealand. How about this? Well, he played with the New Zealand junior national team. He's a product of the NBA Global Academy, which Davidson has had so much recruiting success with, and you see that athletic play.
Absolutely. Sky's in, finishes, and one. You just mentioned the NBA Global Academy. Davidson Athletic Director Chris Clooney, one of the visionaries of the Global Academy. Brendan McKillop now working for them.
There are many alums from this Davidson program, both players and managers alike, who work in large part with the NBA Global Academy. It's a pipeline in many respects.
Absolutely, and senior captain Chris Sosnick interned with them this summer. They said he was the best intern they have ever had.
High praise.
That's why he's a captain. He's a leader.
His story is unbelievable as well.
Absolutely.
Manager, yeah.
Former manager turned player. It's every manager's dream. I was a former college basketball manager, and it's what you always dream of is putting on the jersey, and he gets to live that dream.
Mike Loughnane has entered for the first time in a Davidson jersey, and Logan draws the whistle on the low block.
Sean Logan wanted to rip the rim off on that one. Got triple teamed. Able to draw the foul, though.
You mentioned the Global Academy. Chris Sosnick, of course, interning there. A former manager from 2 years ago, Soren Donishvar Jr., is working there as well.
Davidson basketball is a family atmosphere. From the head coach down to the managers, all the support staff. They look after one another. They take care of one another. That's what Trust Commitment Care is all about.
Logan goes 1 of 2 from the line. Ricky Gaddini, the redshirt sophomore out of Milan, Italy, into the game as well. Thomas puts it on the deck. Driving on Moss, Gaddini collects the rebound. And Matt McKillop will take another timeout to bring Riku Shelty, the German.
Also got called up and played with some of their senior teams as well. One of the top programs in Germany.
Was league MVP with Alba Berlin.
A lot of potential with Rikus.
He averaged over 20 a game.
He's a bruiser, too. You'd never guess he's a freshman.
They'll kick it out to Gaddini. Moves it to Adam. Just off the side of the iron.
Mike Loughnane in the game as well. First minutes as a college freshman.
Played his final year of high school at Phillips Exeter.
Boston kid. Son of a longtime high school coach. Coaches are really high on him and his potential as well.
Here is his first look of the day. Top of the key. Just leaves it short.
Can really shoot it. Makes the smart play. Makes his teammates better. Ricky Gaddini. Good block.
Turned away Robertson that time. Perhaps one final offensive possession for Davidson.
Nice pass, Rikus.
Loughnane tries and knocks it in.
He's not going to miss that one.
Shot over 40% from 3 in high school.
He can really shoot it.
And it is party time here in Davidson. Shot clock turned off. Moss wants points himself.
The soft touch off the glass. Jarvis Moss. Nice finish.
Well, after an up-and-down first half, it has turned into a dominant Davidson display in the second. A 23-point victory in their season opener against the Generals of Washington and Lee. Austin,